Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, November 20, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020. And considering that today is November 20, we're somewhere right in here. We're about to fall off of the hill in general in the last 10 days of November, definitely losing out on the tropical storm or hurricane activity in general. So we're definitely wrapping it up, but we can still get activity in these last 10 days, and we can still get some activity in December. It has happened before in the past, so we'll see exactly what unfolds as we wrap up 2024 in general. If we take a look here at tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin and tracks based on data from 1851 to 2023, all of these yellow dots represent where we've seen systems forming during this time period, November 21 to 30. And we do see one right here to the north of Panama, two of them right here in the Western Caribbean to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula, to the east of Belize. We don't see much across the Caribbean. We see one right here across the main development region, one right here across northern Trinidad, and we see numerous yellow dots indicating where storms are formed right here across the southwestern Atlantic as well as the northern portions of North Atlantic, right there to the north of the main development region. So we're definitely wrapping up in terms of activity for sure. If we take a look here at the typical tracks and origins, usually for November in general, it's right here across the southwestern Caribbean pushing north or northeastward, especially if we don't have a ridge of high pressure steering these systems towards the west. So I guess we've been on track so far regarding the systems that have formed. We're talking about Raphael, Sarah, that both formed right down in here as well. If we take a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, and this is based on the data that just came out on November 19, so this just came out yesterday, we can see that we still have the very warm sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic into the Caribbean, for reference of Jamaica right here. And we can see all of these warm water stretching all the way into the main development region as well as into the northeastern portion of North Atlantic, all the way from the Azores Islands into the Cabo Verde Islands, all the way into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Lots of above normal sea surface temperatures, anywhere from the yellows all the way up into the oranges, represents anywhere from 1 to 2, maybe almost 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. We know the normal temperatures are represented by the whites. We know the below normal temperatures are represented by the blues, and we can see that we still have an abundance of below normal temperatures across the central to the eastern Pacific. So the La Nina is almost here. It's not here as yet, according to the latest information from the National Weather Service Climate Prediction Center on Twitter. They've posted this at 9 a.m. on November 14, stating La Nina is most likely to emerge in October to December 2024. It's not here as yet, considering that it's November 20. And they've stated that there's a 57% chance of this happening. And it's expected to persist through January as well as into March 2025. They've stated that La Nina watch remains in effect, and they've highlighted this graph right here showing that the La Nina is definitely going to be happening somewhere between November, December, January, right here where we see the highest, the blue right here that represents on the key, that's La Nina for sure. And we see that it's going to be continuing December, January into February, January, February into March, and then we start to see more of the grays coming in as we head into February, March, April, May, June. Neutral conditions in the gray. And just a side note, if you remember Hurricane Beryl, we had Beryl form during neutral-like conditions. So we don't need a La Nina for activity to be robust across the Atlantic. We've already seen that with Beryl. We've already seen neutral-like conditions when Beryl was here. So all we need is a lack of El Nino in general for the Atlantic to be robust. And there's definitely been a lack of El Nino all of 2024. We know El Nino has to do with the very warm sea surface temperatures of the eastern to the central Pacific in general that causes more thunderstorms to form, building into tropical depressions and storms across these areas of the world. And then we have a lot of upper level wind shear blowing across the Caribbean into the Atlantic that tears the tops of these thunderstorms off and prevents these waves from Africa from developing into depression storms or hurricanes. So we don't have that. We've had the opposite, neutral into almost La Nina like conditions, not La Nina yet according to what the CPC has stated. So we'll see exactly what unfolds as time goes on. It's only a matter of time before that very Twitter page tells us that, oh, there's La Nina now in, well, La Nina has officially been declared or so, or whatever the case may be. As of right now, there's a La Nina watch that remains in effect for us. Alright, so let us take a look at the ocean heat content. So this map right here is showing how warm the waters are the deeper into the ocean that we go. And we know that these tropical systems can definitely cause a lot of upwelling, causing all of these yellows, oranges to be turning white or even blue, just to show that they've definitely evaporated a lot of the warm water for sure and left a cold wake. But the thing is, it's not only about how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean or at the surface of the ocean, but how warm the waters are the deeper we go into the ocean. This map clearly shows it. For reference, we have Jamaica right here, and we can definitely make out anywhere from the yellows all the way up into the oranges and red represents how warm the waters are the deeper we go. And if we have some kind of system to be stalling out and sitting over these very warm waters, there's not going to be any cold wake or anything like that, because the system is just going to be twisting and turning over the same area, especially right there to the south of Jamaica, and churning up even more warm water and possibly even strengthening some more rather than weakening, because we know that if they stay over an area, like for example right here to the east of the US, and they sit over all of that warm sea surface temperature, then it can actually, you know, backfire if it's actually stuck. Something similar to what we had Sierra do, basically stationary across the western Caribbean right there off the coast of Honduras. If a system should stall out like that over this side of the world, then we're 100% sure that it's going to be dissipating once all of the skin of the ocean has been used up. But boy, we have more than the skin of the ocean across the Caribbean for these systems to use up. So we'll see exactly what unfolds before all is said and done with 2024. If we take a look at the very latest update from the US National Hurricane Center, showing their 7-day graphical tropical weather look, we can see that as of the latest update that just came out at 6:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this just came out 22 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:44 p.m. right now. We can see that tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. So definitely calm right now, but boy, things could change. Have you been watching the supercomputer models over the next 7 days? They look a bit crazy. So we're going to be going out to the next 7 days, just like what the US National Hurricane Center would do. We're going to be looking at the timestamp right here, just going out to the next 168 hours. So keep your eyes peeled right here, as well as on the date, and keep your eyes focused right down here in the Caribbean. And for reference, we have Jamaica right here. So let us see what's going to be happening. We're looking for all of this that we see on the key on the right. The reds that represent up to 16 inches of rainfall, down to the yellows 6 inches of rainfall, down to the greens 5, all the way down to 1 inch of rainfall. So let us see what's happening over the next 7 days. Any differences, any changes? Remember, we've been watching a cold front followed by some moisture that's to come in after this week ends. Okay, so into the weekend and early next week. Let us see what the updates from today are showing, because you know these supercomputer models are always updating. So as we go out in time, we see the moisture associated with the cold front coming down from the west and pushing eastward into portions of Jamaica, and we see that they're going to be finally reaching us by Saturday, November 23. So by 18Z, we see the moisture associated with that cold front coming in. And then look at what starts to take shape across the Caribbean. A lot of deepening moisture from the Eastern Caribbean to the Central and Western Caribbean. Lots of activity starting to take place as we head into Sunday, and we see dark greens, we see yellows that represent anywhere from 2 all the way up to 6 or more inches of rainfall, especially across the waters to the south of Jamaica and Hispaniola. As we continue to go out in time, we see what's taking place. Lots of the moisture starting to push westward into portions of Jamaica for sure as we head into Monday, Tuesday, much of the same thing. So we see what's happening this week. Definitely hot and dry. And some persons are definitely rejoicing with the cooler than average temperatures, but boy, it looks like next week the rainfall is coming with a vengeance. So we're going to be stopping right there at the next 168 hours. This is valid for 12Z on Wednesday, November 27. So this is actually 7 a.m. on Wednesday. And look at all of the moisture that's still going to be here. So it's starting from Saturday with the cold front, and then it's going to be basically enhanced to some more with all of the moisture that's to take shape across the Caribbean, especially to the south of Jamaica. Let us see what the latest GFS is showing. So as we go out in time, we see the moisture associated with the cold front starting to come in from the west. This is by Friday. As we head into Saturday, look at what's taking place. 12Z on Saturday is actually 7 a.m. and we see the moisture starting to plague portions of western and northern Jamaica. Then as we continue to go out in time, we see what's taking place. Even more rainfall right there across portions of the island as we head into Sunday. I think I just had a power outage just now. Boy, JPS is something else. Luckily, I have my backup battery. Wonder if you guys heard all of that beeping. Everything shut off just now. Alright, but I still have internet, luckily. Alright, so let's continue. Look at what's happening now as we head into Monday. Just like what the Euro model has been showing. A lot of rainfall in the greens, the yellows, the reds represent anywhere from 2 all the way up to even close to 12 inches of rainfall as we head into Monday. Look at the deep rainfall. Look at all of the yellows, oranges, and reds into Tuesday. And then look at what's happening. Some of this even coming into portions of Jamaica. That could trigger some amount of flash flooding if it actually verifies. As of right now, the Euro has most of it off to the south of us. But the GFS, I saw this, something similar to this on the 00 run of the GFS. Now I'm seeing it on the 18Z run, so it's definitely a bit concerning. We even see some kind of L in there that represents an airflow pressure. So who knows, maybe something is trying to formulate. But it's definitely going to be having a warm or hard time to do so, considering that yes, we have a broad airflow pressure, but there's going to be a lot of wind shear across our portion of the basin at that time on Wednesday, well, late Tuesday into Wednesday. So it might be struggling to develop into the next system. We know the next name on the list is Tony. We'll see exactly what unfolds if we actually get Tony. As of right now, this is what is shown at the end of the 7 days. So this is for 18Z on Wednesday, November 27, 1 p.m. on Wednesday. This is for 7 a.m. on Wednesday, November 27. We see the differences. Most of the moisture on the Euro has set up shop right there to the south of Jamaica and Haiti, while all of the moisture, if not all of it, somewhere between Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba. Lots of heavy rainfall too. Very interesting forecast. We'll see exactly what unfolds As of right now, even if we don't get a name, we see the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days starting to come into consensus that these areas are going to be picking up the most in the way for rainfall. Let me use black to show it. Portions of northern Honduras that was just plagued by Sierra, portions of Jamaica into Haiti, eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, right here, stretching all the way down into western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. We see the colors, we see the dark reds, that represents 2 inches, we see the purples, that represents 3 inches, we see the pinks, 4 inches of rainfall. Lots of rainfall, that. What about the GFS? GFS is showing something similar in the same spots. Northern Honduras, eastern Belize, northeastern Guatemala, sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, western and northern Venezuela, the ABC Islands. The waters to the south of Haiti, but the Dominican Republic getting in on some of that. Southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Jamaica. Jamaica even looking to be getting the most of it. Look at those colors, heading all the way up into the salmon or peachish colors. That's ridiculous amounts of rainfall. That represents up to 6 or maybe all the way up to 8 inches of rainfall if that actually verifies. So this is a bit concerning as we wrap up the month of November and head into early December. Let us see if this actually unfolds. Let us see if this actually happens. We have to stay updated because we know these supercomputer models can drop the forecast in general. We know these things are not set in stone. We can see all of the rainfall coming, and then as soon as we head into Friday, there's a whole shift into the rainfall, and maybe it's more to the west of us than anything else, or more to the east of us than anything else. As of right now, there's some consensus for rainfall in and around Jamaica as we head into the early part of next week throughout the mid portions of the week. So right now we need to be on our P's and Q's just in case we get another major rainfall event that can definitely cause some amount of flash flooding. And even if we take a closer look at the accumulated precipitation forecast of Jamaica, yes, the Euro is a bit more reserved with the rainfall for sure. We see that with the greens, the yellows, the pinks, the reds. That represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 100, 125 millimeters of rainfall. Clearly the most rainfall right there across eastern Jamaica or to the waters to the south and west of us. But the GFS definitely robust with all of these dark reds, purples, into the gray colors. If this actually verifies, this is representing anywhere from 90 millimeters all the way up to 500 millimeters of rainfall. If this actually verifies, let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope for right now the GFS is basically GFSing and showing something that's not going to be happening, like what we experienced with future Sarah. Remember, we're talking about a lot of rainfall coming, and then most of the rainfall just went to the south of us. So let us just hope, fingers crossed, that this is not what's going to be taking place, because trust me, if this actually happens, landslides and flooding definitely a must for sure. So let us take these forecasts with a grain of salt. Let us stay updated over the next couple of days to see if there's any changes, or to see if the models come even in more agreement, because boy, once we start to see the Euro caving more to what the GFS is showing with all of these purples and grays, then it's over with. We're definitely going to be getting in on all of that heavy rainfall for sure. So we definitely have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Alright, so let us switch gears now and talk about what's happening on the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see the blue lines right here associated with the cold front that's currently affecting portions of the southeastern United States. We see a blue spike line right here associated with another cold front right here to the northeast of the Bahamas. We see some broken orange lines right here touching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the eastern Caribbean associated with a trough. We also see another trough of low pressure right here to the north of the Cabo Verde Islands. We see another trough right here to the northeast of South America. And we see the red line right here associated with the intertropical convergent zone. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of the clouds associated with the frontal system, definitely on its way into portions of it's already there, affecting the Yucatan Peninsula, western Cuba, the northern Bahamas, with some amount of overcast skies, rainfall. We see the clouds associated with the trough to the northeast east of South America. We see the clouds associated with the other trough stretching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the Caribbean, especially the eastern Caribbean. And we can also see the clouds right here squash to the south, affecting portions of the southern main development region. And we know the intertropical convergence zone is basically where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and we have a lot of rising air clouds, showers, and thunderstorms formulating in that spot. Not necessarily anything coming off of Africa that's going to be developing at all. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, November 19, 2024. It was stated that we would have been receiving sunny conditions all across the island today for sure, from the north to the south, to the east to the central and the western portions of the island, and that was exactly what took place. For the most part, especially central and western Jamaica, little to no clouds, but I guess some of the clouds that were bringing the rainfall out to the east of the island. If you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted some droplets of rain on the Cuban Doppler radar images between Jamaica and Haiti. Well, that was associated with a small trough, and it definitely brought some rainfall out to sea to the east of us today, and also brought some cloud cover across section of eastern Jamaica, more so across section of St. Thomas, Portland, especially the Blue Mountains, got in on the cloud cover, maybe some isolated showers within all of that, especially on the mountain, in the mountainous areas. As usual, we know the altitude usually makes it rain. As usual, it's nothing abnormal at all. The infrared satellite images confirming this. We see the milky whitish clouds right here off to the east of the island, especially across eastern Jamaica for sure. While the rest of the island definitely got enough sunny weather as expected. We can see this live stream from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing Flatbridge in St. Catherine, definitely sunny and beautiful. The water not in spate at all, definitely calm. This is as calm as it gets for sure. People in their vehicles going about their business. Don't even have that strong of a wind at all these days. Definitely variable winds like what we confirmed in yesterday's video. So it's been sunny for the most part. Some people are crying that it's too cold in the morning. Some people are crying that it's too hot in the day. Boy, this is what cold fronts do. They bring the cooler than average temperatures, but this cold front wasn't that strong. It mainly brought us cooler than average temperatures, especially during the morning hours. Didn't get in on the strong winds or anything like that. That was basically it. But the cold front that's coming could bring some rainfall, could bring some strong winds, especially to northern Jamaica. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute from Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had the rainfall today. Not across western or central Jamaica, but definitely across those spots that got in on the cloud cover today. We're talking about northern St. Thomas, southern Portland, basically the Blue Mountain and maybe the Jonkra Mountain ranges. We're picking up on some amount of cloud cover and some isolated showers. Nothing else from nowhere else at all. If we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, let's take a look at what's happening across the island right now. So this is the latest image that just came out at 23:45 UTC. When calculated, that's about 6:45 p.m. And we see that it came out almost 15 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:58 p.m. right now. We can see that nothing really is going on. Just some milky whitish clouds across the waters to the north and to the east, especially to the east of us. Nothing too drastic taking place. Let us see if we can match it to the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Unfortunately, it looks like the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out at 6 p.m. Let's see if we reload it, if it will actually update. Let it go ahead and reload. Let's see what's happening on the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery. Don't see much happening at all. We can make out some dots of green, some rainfall across the western peninsula of Haiti, right there to the west of the western peninsula of Haiti. Can't make out much of anything to the waters to the east of Jamaica. Let us see what's happening on the latest Cuban Doppler radar. Alright, there we go. Still glitched out as of 6 p.m. this evening. Can't make out anything, but we do see a dot of green right there. Basically the same spots right there between Jamaica and Haiti. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Definitely matching to what we've been seeing on the latest satellite images. We see the clouds. We see the patches of clouds associated with a little surface trough right here between Jamaica and Haiti. Nothing too significant at all, but we can make out the thunderstorm clouds associated with that cold front, definitely lashing portion of Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize as we speak, and it's definitely pushing eastward. So tomorrow is Thursday. It's only one more day left until the cold front is actually to the west of us on Friday, and then Saturday we start to get in on the rainfall. So time is definitely starting to run out. Cold front is definitely moving quickly for sure. Alright, so let us go back. Where were we? Alright, here we go. So let's take a look at what the Cayman radar is showing. Not seeing much across the Cayman radar at all. But look, we're starting to get some of the rain bands associated with the cold front across portion of western Cuba. We can see some of the rain bands right here to the far west of the Cayman Islands as well. If we take a look right now at what's happening across Jamaica, not seeing much of anything right here on the halfway tree live cam at all. People walking about going on their merry way, maybe home or maybe night shift, who knows. We can definitely see people right here in the traffic of halfway tree in their vehicles going about their business for sure. And keep in mind that this is as of the latest 7 p.m. Jamaica time, so it's definitely on time for sure. Maybe a 1 minute delay, but that's basically it. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They literally have these streams up all day, every day. If you're down in the corporate area, maybe it might even pick you up. Just go on there, rewind. It goes all the way up to 11 hours ago for sure. So all the way from this morning, you can definitely see what has been taking place across the corporate area. If you take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 21 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Thursday when calculated at 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays as well as some slight yellows. So anywhere from average to slightly above average temperature is going to be experienced across the island, and who knows, maybe some of the blues from the other cold front might still seep into portion of the island, so we might wake up to cooler than average temperatures for sure. We're not really feeling those cooler than average temperatures during the day at all. Definitely hot conditions, especially during the afternoon hours. Maybe persons in Manchester might be feeling the cooler than average temperatures, but it's naturally cool down in there. So considering that the average temperatures for the month of November are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and when 88 degrees Fahrenheit is changed to Celsius, that's about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. We should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature. Alright, so for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday, and just like we stated, we're definitely going to be starting to highlight where we're going to be experiencing power outages for the next day, because boy, if you remember in yesterday's video I highlighted that I was homesick. I was sick yesterday, stayed home, and then to my surprise my part of St. Thomas was announced on the JPS website to possibly receive a power outage from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I definitely got in on that. And boy, the heat was ridiculous. Didn't have a fan or AC to cool me down at all. So I'm just gonna be starting to highlight these from the JPS, so you know what's happening if you have friends or relatives, or if you live in these areas. But Thursday, November 21, these are the areas anywhere from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. that could receive some power outages. We're talking about Ramble in St. Thomas for tomorrow. Also, we're talking about Racetrack in Clarendon for Thursday. We're also talking about Ice Factory Road, George's Plain, and Jane Marks in Westmoreland for Thursday as well. We're talking about Wakefield to Dromilly, if I'm not butchering the name, for Trelawney as well. We're also referring to Bellevue to Walker's Wood in St. Anne for Thursday as well. Now we're talking about 95. Let's also highlight entire, where did it go? Hold on, something X'd off. I think I'm gonna have to get me another mouse now. I don't know what's going on with this mouse. It's Xing things off that I did not X off. Alright, so this is what I'm highlighting. Entire Duhaney Park and New Haven, St. Andrew on Thursday, going to be experiencing maintenance outages. So too Moore Park to Mustard Seed in St. James. We're also highlighting Higginsland, Steerfield in St. Anne, and finally Longsville Park in St. Catherine. All of these areas are going to be experiencing some kind of power outage tomorrow between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. right here. This one's from 8:30 to 6. This is going to be a long one. So if you live in that area, or if you have friends or relatives who live in that area, if you work in those areas, expect power outages. Now, not everybody is blessed enough to have generators or battery backup systems, so definitely be on the lookout for some amount of power outages and try to cope with the heat that's going to be happening, because we don't have the fans or ACs to power up things. So ensure that you check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. I can't even tell it to be cool by making use of fans or ACs. Well, the person who have the electricity can do that. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated throughout the day. A huge percentage of our body is made up of water, so I suggest that you drink water, and lots of it, and put away the sugar drinks as well. If we take a look at the dry air map, we can understand why it's been so dry across the Caribbean recently. Lots of cool dry air across the area, anywhere from the yellows all the way up into the oranges and reds on this map represents dry air, and we've definitely been getting on the dry air across the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, the southern Bahamas for sure. But remember, all of this is going to be changing as we head into the weekend and early next week. All of this that we see with the yellows, oranges, and reds, they're going to be looking more like this that we see across the waters to the eastern Caribbean, to the northeast of South America. More moist air, blues than anything else. That's what we're going to be experiencing when we're starting to get in on the rainfall. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on a Thursday, we can see that North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, South America, well, northern South America, into Central America, definitely in the clear for 2 p.m. on Thursday, because all of the browns represent the Saharan dust should be across the waters of the Eastern Main Development Region as well as Africa. And we hope it stays over there and doesn't make it westward into Jamaica because of the ridges of high pressure sending all of those winds from east-west. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that the wave heights are definitely going to be very low across the Caribbean, including Jamaica tomorrow. We see more lighter shades of blue than anything else. That represents anywhere from 0 to 0.5 of a meter wave height, maybe up to 1 meter wave height at most. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots at most. And we see the general direction across the eastern Caribbean from the southeast, across the central Caribbean, definitely from the east, more so pushing towards the southwest into the western Caribbean. And we're starting to get in on the strong winds associated with the cold front right there across the northwestern Caribbean for tomorrow. Definitely going to be plaguing western Cuba, sections of Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as sections of Honduras. Jamaica not going to be getting on much of that at all as yet. And if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica regarding the winds, not much change. Definitely more so in the way of variable winds. We see the winds coming in from the south on the south coast, more so from the northeast on the north coast, more so from the east on the eastern sides of the island. Let's see what the latest Euro is showing. Alright, basically something similar to what we had yesterday. So definitely some variable windy conditions at all across the island. We see the wind, we see the flow, not coming from a specific direction at all, and we see how weak the winds are as well. Averaging anywhere from 0 all the way to 5 knot winds. Nothing strong at all, not gonna be windy at all across the island for Thursday. And we can also make out the upper level winds coming in from the southwest. So if by chance we getting on some isolated afternoon rainfall, it's definitely going to be plaguing more so northern Jamaica if we get that daytime heating convection across those spots. But as of right now, the rainfall forecast maps are not showing much in the way for rainfall. For 8 a.m. on Thursday, the Euro is trying to show some blues representing rainfall across the waters to the east of the island. Who knows, maybe some of that might meander into St. Thomas and Portland. The GFS keeps most of the rainfall out to the sea, so we have the consensus on both the Euro and the GFS for 8 a.m. out to the east of the island for sure. If we take a look at 3 p.m. on Thursday now, nothing on the GFS. Maybe we still have the blues representing rainfall out to the east of us, so indicate cloud cover still out there associated with the trough. But the Euro is trying to put some blues representing rainfall across maybe St. Thomas and Portland. We'll see how that unfolds tomorrow, and I'll definitely be here to keep you updated. As of right now, the accumulated precipitation forecast showing from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday shows whites, more whites than anything else, that represent little to no rainfall across western and central Jamaica. But eastern Jamaica getting all the way up to maybe 0.08 of an inch of rainfall in the slight greens according to the Euro. GFS not so much of anything. Still bright and sunny hot days for sure. And we're indeed grateful that we're getting a little drying out. We know that it has been very wet for the past couple of weeks across the island. And I guess we could say that we've exceeded the amount of rainfall that we usually receive for the month of November. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. When calculated to inches, that's about 2 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 5 inches of rainfall. When calculated, that's about 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall on the rain gauge, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and they will show you that if you live in Portland, if you live in Clarendon or Manchester, it will show you what the rainfall is like on a bar graph from January through to December. And in terms of how the rainfall is calculated, we know that on the rain gauge, rainfall can be measured in inches or millimeters. And we know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the clouds associated with the frontal system, the cold front definitely coming in to portions of Cuba as we speak. Western Cuba definitely getting lashed with some amount of thunderstorms right now. Strong winds right behind it with the cooler than average temperatures. So to the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize getting lashed as we speak. Section of Honduras, El Salvador. We can also see some rainfall coming into portions of Costa Rica, Panama, sections of Colombia with their usual thunderstorm activity. So to sections of southern Venezuela. You can make out some rainfall associated with the trough, definitely lashing portion of the ABC Islands as well as the eastern and northeastern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let us make out what's happening across these areas. Alright, so as of the latest Doppler radar image, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, considering that it's 7:13 p.m. now, so this just came out 3 minutes ago. You can make out some rainfall right there across section of Dominica, the waters to the east of Guadeloupe. Not much rainfall in and around St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda or St. Barth, but definitely some rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico as we speak. And if we load these images from about 1:20 p.m., we can definitely see where the rainfall is definitely plaguing portions of Martinique, Guadeloupe, eastern Puerto Rico. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much happening across Barbados right now. Zooming out, we can make out some rainfall to the south of Guadeloupe, some rainfall across sections of northwestern Dominica. We can make out some isolated hit or miss rainfall in and around Trinidad and Tobago, especially to the east of Trinidad. If we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can make out the rainfall associated with the cold front, lashing portion of southern Florida, western Cuba, section of the northwestern Bahamas. We can also make out some isolated showers across sections of Colombia, section of the ABC Islands, especially to the north and west of there. We can make out some rainfall across sections of Venezuela. And if we take a look at the wider view of the rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday. And we can definitely see the greens into the yellows, oranges. That represents 0.1 of an inch all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. While the reds all the way up into the purples and the pinks that represent anywhere from 1 all the way up to 4 inches of rainfall. Definitely expected the most for a section of Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan, sections of northwestern Honduras, So to Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. While we have more so in wave isolated shores for sections of Florida, the northern Bahamas, section of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, most of Honduras, El Salvador, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, sections of Venezuela, the ABC Islands, so too Guyana, and we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. Even although the Euro is trying to incorporate portions of Suriname and French Guyana, we don't see that at all on the, well, the GFS is trying to, yeah. So we're seeing that on the Euro, that the Suriname and French Guyana portions right here are shaded with some amount of rainfall, but the GFS not that impressed with that. More wise than anything as that represents to no rainfall, so don't have much consensus with that. But we do have the consensus for the rainfall for portions of Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, sections of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, so too Anguilla and, well, Antigua and Barbuda. Not much in store for section of the US and British Virgin Islands, but maybe section of northern Puerto Rico might get on some of the isolated shore activity. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.